Texts of Terror with your friend, me. Hello, hi. It's your friendly neighborhood feminist biblical scholar, and we've been reading Esther as a text of terror. Last time we talked, we covered 10 whole verses, chapter 2, verses 8 through 18, and we got into the horrors of trafficking that Esther, as well as many other girls, endured. One might think that because Esther was crowned as queen, we're all done with that, right? Wrong! Chapter 2, verse 19 begins with, quote, when they gathered the girls a second time, end quote. They decide to do this again. Yep, listen. The king is apparently scared. He's traumatized, and he needs to make sure he has a backup plan in case Esther stops being pleasing and he has to make her into another Vashti. He's entitled to that, you know. This is a system where bodies are a commodity, where men on top and their feelings privilege all else. Esther is disposable. She's replaceable. She's exchangeable. That is what this empire is all about. And again, this is just a passing statement as we get to the real story. Verses 19b through 23. Quote, Mordecai was seated at the king's gate. Esther had not told her lineage or her people, as was commanded to her by Mordecai. Mordecai's commands Esther would obey, as she did when he raised her. How sweet. In those days, Mordecai was seated at the king's gate, and Bigthan and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs guarding the door, were angry, and they sought to forsake the hands of King Ahasuerus. Mordecai knew these things, and Mordecai told Queen Esther, and Esther told the king in the name of Mordecai. The things were investigated, and it was found true, and the two of them were hanged upon gallows. So it was written in the book of things before the eyes of the king, end quote. Why would eunuchs want to kill the king? Gosh, I wonder. If you don't have, I guess, you should go watch my video on the eunuchs. Listen, this is purely a transition story in the text. It sets us up for anticipation for what comes next because Mordecai did this really good thing for the king and it was even recorded. Good job, Mordecai, right? See you next time. Stay curious.